Hi, and welcome back into day 4. Now, as I was saying yesterday, this thinking mind, this so-called kind of rational mind, it's very tempting to try and think our way out of the situation. But the analogy, the metaphor that was given to me when I was trying to better understand this technique, or to better understand the unwinding of a skill, of getting more clarity, was this. And it was, imagine that you're walking down a road. And every day you walk down the same road, and every day you find yourself at the bottom of a very deep, dark hole. And you find yourself there and you don't really know how you got there. You know it's quite unpleasant, it's cold, you don't really like it, you wish you could get out, but you don't know how. And then one day as you walk down the road, you think you see in the distance, before you fall into the hole, you think you see the hole. But it's too late. The habit is so strong, it's almost like you just can't slow down the momentum, and so you fall in anyway. But then you continue to train the mind, and over time you see the hole coming, and you see it more and more in advance, until eventually you get to a point where you think, you know what, I don't think I want to fall down the hole today, and you just walk around it. Maybe eventually you just take a different street altogether. But over time, this is our perspective changing. This is a skill. It takes time. So don't be overly concerned if you find yourself down in that hole. That's just part of this process. Over time, you'll see it further and further in advance and find it much easier just to step to the side. And that's what we're doing with noting, just getting that greater sense of clarity in the mind. But right now, just take a moment to get comfortable, eyes open. And when you're ready, just starting with some nice big deep breaths. And with the next out breath, just gently closing the eyes. Just allowing the breath to return to its natural rhythm, in and out through the nose. As you just settle back into the space around you now. And just starting to become more aware of the body now, starting to notice how the body's feeling. We're just going to scan down from head to toe. Not trying to change anything or look for anything in particular, but just noticing, witnessing, observing how the body feels right now. And now just shifting the attention to the breath. Just starting to notice that movement. And just maintaining a very soft focus on that rising and falling sensation. So as you continue to follow the breath, remember a soft, gentle focus, not trying to change the breath in any way. Counting if you find it easier as a support, but either way, each time you realize you've been distracted, just gently noting, letting it go, and bringing the attention back to the breath again. So realizing when the mind races off after a thought, feeling, if you see it before you get completely lost in it, that's fine, just come back to the breath. If you get completely distracted in it, just gently noting the nature of distraction and then coming back to the breath again. And if we find that the mind is distracted, we don't need to think about the nature of the distraction or the thought or the feeling. We're simply pausing to notice, was that thinking or feeling? And then coming back to the breath again. Very little effort required. Body knows how to breathe. We're just following that movement, that rising and falling sensation. And now just letting go of that focus on the breath, on that idea of noting or labeling, and just for a moment, let the mind do whatever it wants to do. So if it wants to think, let it think. And now just bringing the attention back once again to the body, back to those physical sensations, in particular those points of contact between the body and the chair or the floor, that feeling of the hands and the arms just resting on the legs or in the lap. Starting to notice any sounds around you as you just become more familiar, or remind yourself of the space around you, and just gently opening the eyes when you're ready. As always, just take a moment to pause. Notice how the mind feels, how the body feels. And know that this quality of awareness is something you can carry in to your day. And I mentioned at the beginning the tendency to get frustrated or impatient when things don't feel like they're changing quickly enough, or where we feel like we just end up in the bottom of that same old hole every time. But we can actually use these emotions if we realize that we've got caught up in frustration or impatience, whatever it might be, we know in that moment that we've stepped out of that place of awareness. Instead, we've got caught up in the same old thinking mind, the same old habits. In that moment, we note, oh, okay, is that thinking? Okay, that's thinking. And we let it go. And we just come back to what we're doing. Again, the more we can do this, the easier it becomes, the less effort it takes, and the more we'll get out of the exercise. I look forward to seeing you back here tomorrow for day 5.